I think there's a common misconception that once someone is released from prison, that the punishment or incarceration is over. When someone's released from prison, they're literally handed $40, a MetroCard or a train ticket, and a list of conditions of parole that they need to abide by. I mean, I've worked with a gentleman who came home after 41 years and was dropped off in Times Square and told he needed to go to a homeless shelter. And so navigating the new world that he walked into, no one was there for him.
People are coming home having lost their families, through death, or they've just, abandoned them and, don't want to be bothered with them anymore. So they don't have families necessarily. They might have shelters, but they don't have homes. We often have people who come in and don't have a quiet place to even lay their head at night.
We talk a lot about giving people a second chance, but the reality is most of our clients have never had a first chance. Harlem actually scores a 10 out of 10 on the poverty index, which means it's one of the poorest communities in the country. There are 2,700 people coming home from incarceration to Manhattan each year, and about 40% of those will return to prison within 3 years.
My name is Thomas Edwards, and at this point in my life, I've been out of prison 21 months after serving 21 years. People would ask me, well, what are you going to do after 21 years? I would say, well, I'm going home to have a relationship with the world. But when I got out, I realized that a lot of the world didn't want a relationship with me.
At one point, when I first came home, I didn't want to understand anything. Because I didn't understand nothing.
And a lot of times, people just don't know what to do. My mom didn't know what to do. She told my daughter, give her 6 months, she'll be back.
I mean, I guess nobody understands what I was going through.
Our clients come home and they feel like nobody wants them to succeed. And that's a message that they've heard over and over throughout their whole lives.
We're dealing with a situation now, especially in East Harlem, of mass incarceration. And very few people go to prison and never get out. They're going to come out. So how do we want them to come out?
The Harlem Community Justice Center is a neighborhood community court and problem-solving center. We're doing something different. We're actually focused on solving the problems that bring people to the justice system. One of the programs that we are uniquely, among all justice centers, kind of engaged in is working with men and women who are coming home from prison onto parole.
Nobody stops living because you went to jail. That's your stuff. You got to handle that. But how do you reconnect coming back home? How do you feel like you belong, or like you're not on the outside looking in, watching your life go by?
So when you have an opportunity to come to a place like the Harlem Community Justice Center, there's a sense that you're wanted back in your community.
The hospitality out there was phenomenal. It's like these people were they want to make sure that you have housing. They want to make sure you got transportation. I mean, they just saw something in me that I didn't believe in, you know what I mean? I didn't believe in myself for so long that...
It wasn't what I expected out of parole. They were trying to help me. I thought it was going to be like a number, on a piece of paper, and that's it.
My name used to be 91G 1505, but today I love Rusty.
Here it is. I'm Rodrigo.
Listen, Harlem Justice Center, that's where it's at.
So our work is really about using a team approach. And so unlike the traditional justice system in which a person comes home and they have one parole officer who might be very well-intentioned, it's just too much for one person to do. So we use an entire team with case managers, employment specialists, a family engagement coordinator.
There aren't enough resources for people coming home from prison. There are even less resources for the families. And so the Circles of Support program has really started to expand the reentry court model to include families in the reentry process. They're so often forgotten. They are on the front lines of reentry. Every aspect of their lives has been disrupted by incarceration. They meet the parole officer, they meet the judge. It's transformative because now we have the advocate. They understand what's going on when that person reports to parole.
The community part is so important. I like to think of it as helping people walk through their reentry.
When someone is coming home from prison and you send them back into the same chaotic situation that they left with no guide, no mentor, no one to help them find a different path, that's a problem. And that's where volunteers can come into play in a big way.
We really tackle something big. We really want to make a difference. We want to know what do they need to help them get jobs. So we started to brainstorm a complete day of employment readiness, interview skills, writing a resume, and even knowing what to wear at their upcoming interviews.
You put your buttons, all your buttons. You can't get your hand in your pocket. See? Like this. See, you always get you a square and put it in there like that.
Yeah, like this a lot.
But you know what?
Y'all got a big smile.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
You know, seeing the energy of all of these guys today, knowing that there is a place for them. They don't know where that place is yet, but it's going to come. They're gonna find it. If they had had an interview walking out of this place, they would have had the job.
And we here trying to better our streets, do better for our communities, trying to switch this role out here. Like all these hood people, we trying to make them think positive and not negative. Just trying to change.
It was amazing being able to sit down and work through resumes. You know, maybe they came in a little closed off, and through the course of, you know, discussing their accomplishments, it was just a big, you know, it was like a light went on.
So is today really about neckties, picking clothing, resumes, and interviews? Is it about helping them to find a job? We're trying to deliver in their first days out a set of experiences that opens them to new possibilities, shows them there's another group of new friends they could make who want them to succeed, want them to be back together with their families, want them to get jobs, and not return to a life of crime.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. I got it. I just learned how to tie a tie. Thank you. He's smiling. He saw that? He smiled.
So take a look. I'll give you a few minutes to decide.
It's been so much love. This has just been a wonderful, awesome day. And Susan, I want to thank you so much. Don't point us on that resume. And so this has been the thing I've been struggling with. And I got my first Bill Blast suit.
You just know when everything is going right or somebody's helped you to get something right, and that's what they had today, you know, and I just want to keep seeing it go and go.
And so maybe today somebody got a little bit of confidence and that they weren't going to go to an interview. And then maybe they say, hey, you know, it didn't go so bad today. I actually can get a job. And maybe they go get a job. We actually saw that with our the last time we did an event like this. One of our clients did not want to come. And so this guy, he got here and he had a bad attitude. He said, I do not want to be here. And by the time he left, he felt really inspired and he decided to go on a job interview. And he called us about 2 days later and he said, I cannot believe I got the job. He said, I wasn't even gonna go, but after the event, I decided, you know what? These people see something in me, so I do have something to give.
It's a wonderful feeling to be back out here and try to do everything that's right, stay on the right path and try to be around the right people so I can make progress in life.
Post-conviction, if more people saw what was happening in the reentry courts and saw people actually, little by little, just chipping away at the obstacles and building lives for themselves, that's what they're doing. They're building their lives, reconnecting with family members, identifying their skills and their strengths, securing employment, securing housing. I mean, we've had people come in and say, and literally pull out their paycheck and say, I got a paycheck today. I earned this. This is my paycheck. I've seen people at graduation say, the diploma and the paycheck. They've rebuilt their lives. So it does work.
I just want to say thanks for the support from everyone here.
I remember thinking, why does everybody throw my name? I'm supposed to be in the back somewhere, but everyone has been kind and accepting.
They pushed me to be something better, you know what I mean, than what I was.
I've been very vocal about my disappointment that this is the only one in the state. I don't understand why it is. I think it should be the model for parole supervision.
So we know what we do works. We know that when our clients are coming home, that what they need are real partners working with them to be successful in the community.
Although the Reentry Court is a great model, and I know that it is the right thing to do, beyond that, it's actually working. It's keeping people home from prison. It's making communities safer.
You know, they're not just coming to us because they want services. They're coming to us because they want their lives to get back on track.
Anyone that steps into the Harlem Justice Center for the first time steps out with a change of mind, you know, with a whole different mindset. I appreciate life. You know, and every single day I consider it a blessing.